morning. Thank you all for joining us on this beautiful morning. I'm Dr. Luanne Metz, the Alberta NDP candidate for Calgary-Varsity. We are gathered on the traditional territory of the signatories of Treaty 7, and I acknowledge the Métis people who share a deep connection with this land. I'm joined here today by Court Ellingson, our Alberta NDP candidate for Calgary-Foothills, by Tyler and Kelly Pubbin, local business owners, and of course by our leader, Rachel Notley. We are here today to share our plan for a groundbreaking initiative to improve healthcare across the province. I'm standing here not just as a candidate, but also as a physician who, I need my paper, sorry. A neuroscientist and a researcher, and a lifelong advocate for public health care. Over the 4 years, I and other healthcare providers have watched as the UCP have deliberately dismantled Alberta healthcare and spurred chaos as a result. During one of the most challenging periods in our lifetime, the UCP chose to pick a fight with doctors and nurses. And they continue the pattern of short-sighted decision-making that has damaged our system to the breaking point. By driving away doctors and nurses, and with their destructive policies, they've made it harder for Albertans to access the care they need. And they have failed to step up and improve our system in meaningful ways. Albertans deserve better health care, and they need public health care to stay public, accessible, and free. Doctors, nurses, and allied health professionals across the system are tired of bearing the consequences of the UCP's destructive actions. We're doing the best we can with what we have, and under the UCP, what we have simply is not enough. We deserve better. We're so privileged to have some of the best and brightest minds in medicine and life sciences call Alberta home. As a neurologist, I can tell you firsthand how thankful I am for the opportunity to work with the exceptional researchers right here at the University of Calgary. My colleagues at the University of Alberta are also doing some exceptional work. Our research labs and post-secondary institutions right here in Alberta are on the cutting edge of medical research and innovation. We're meeting and exceeding expectations for new technological advancements and interventions. All we need is to turn these dreams into reality is a supportive government, one that values a robust public healthcare system and is willing to invest in it. To speak a little bit more about this opportunity to bridge this gap between innovation and healthcare, I'm going to pass it over to Court Ellingson, our fantastic candidate for Calgary-Foothills.
Thank you, Luanne. Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to join you all today. I want to take a few moments to share my excitement about our proposal with you. I'm incredibly passionate about the economic future of Calgary and our province. As the former Vice President of Strategy at Calgary Economic Development, I understand the steps needed to create a diversified and resilient economy. We have good ideas and great people. I also know that we need to provide meaningful opportunities to engage them so they can be part of our economic growth and to build a diversified and resilient economy that we need. They deserve better than what they have right now. They deserve a government that prioritizes their well-being and invests in a better future for its citizens. Through my work at Calgary Economic Development, I have met with stakeholders across various industries, including business, healthcare, education, and technology. It is clear that health technology is a fast-growing field within our innovation ecosystem. And we have everything we need to take advantage of this opportunity right here in Calgary. However, we know that many innovators face challenges with access to procurement and implementation in the healthcare sector, and they need our help. These barriers can discourage potential entrepreneurs from pursuing their innovative ideas and ultimately hinder the development of healthcare solutions that could benefit all Albertans. In order to support our tech industry and reap the benefit in a way that benefits all Albertans, we need opportunities for innovative entrepreneurs to apply their work and create value in our public healthcare system. Imagine what could happen if we had an environment that leveraged our world-class post-secondary institutions and the work of brilliant researchers into real-world applications that improve patient outcomes and the clinical environment for our healthcare workers. All we need to do is bridge the gap between industry and healthcare. I've worked with many people and organizations that have done the legwork in identifying problems and finding creative, cost-effective solutions that could revolutionize how we care for our people. Tyler Pubbin and his brother are just one example of a simple solution that could have an exponential impact on the healthcare and well-being of all Albertans. I'll turn it over to him to share more about his story.
Hi, my name is Tyler Pubbin, and I'm president of a company named Tapmaster here in Calgary, which I run with my brother Kelly. Our company designs and manufactures hands-free faucet control systems. Our products don't use any electricity. They're powered by water pressure alone. Hands-free control systems have obvious uses in hospitals where they help prevent the spread of infection and they speed up procedures. We have successfully sold our technology to hospitals in the United States, Ontario, and BC, but we're quite frustrated that we cannot get our products into hospitals here in Alberta. When we approach AHS, they say we need to be spec'd in by the engineering companies. And then when we approach engineering companies, they say we need to be in the original RFP from AHS. So we get the runaround and nothing happens. And that's a shame. I believe we can add value to Alberta hospitals, making them faster to operate and more hygienic. We're proud to be an Albertan company. We love to be able to sell our products here in Alberta. I think this Alberta NDP proposal to give AHS a more flexible procurement process would be good for our business, good for AHS, and good for patients. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing your story with us, Tyler. Without any further delay, I'm pleased to introduce someone passionate about creating a better future for all Albertans and who is committed to investing in our province's most valuable resource, our people. Please join me in welcoming the leader of the Alberta NDP, Rachel Notley.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, and let me begin by saying thank you to Tyler and to Kelly for your work, and I also want to thank Court and Luanne for bringing this important idea for innovation to us as a policy that we could act on. As we face the increasingly complex challenges of patient care and service delivery, we must be proactive and innovative to meet the evolving needs of our healthcare system. As Court previously mentioned, many innovators face challenges with access to procurement and are looking for the right opportunities to integrate their solutions. There's so many entrepreneurs out there like Tyler, like Kelly, who want to be part of the solutions we're seeking. The Canadian Council of Innovators told us they consistently hear about how frustrating it can be for companies that are selling world-leading technologies to governments across the globe, but they keep running into roadblocks right here at home. So they want to see solutions that encourage partnership and collaboration across sectors and simplify the pathway to procurement. And so that's why I'm so proud today to announce a first-of-its-kind transformative initiative that will help shape the future of healthcare in Alberta. The Healthcare Innovation Challenge Fund. This new fund will prioritize the procurement, scaling, and deployment of innovative software and equipment in healthcare settings, everywhere from operating rooms to outpatient clinics, to improve patient outcomes, reduce wait times and procedure times, and to lower costs. The Alberta NDP would invest an initial $75 million into this fund over the next 3 years. We will use the best available technology and innovation to modernize and improve public health care for all Albertans, because Albertans really do deserve better. They deserve a government that's invested in their well-being and focused on finding solutions that improve their quality of life. So instead of serving Albertans, on the other hand, we have Danielle Smith and the UCP, who've chosen chaos. And nowhere is that more true than in our public health care system. Instead of supporting healthcare workers, the UCP picked fights with doctors, nurses, and emergency response workers. Fact is enough. Albertans are tired of waiting in line for diagnostic exams, emergency rooms, and doctors' offices. The Alberta NDP is committed to better health care for everyone. We've already shared with you our commitment to providing free contraceptives, ensuring you have access to a family doctor when you need one, and improving emergency response times. And with the Healthcare Innovation Challenge Fund, we can ensure the healthcare we provide here is amongst the best in the world. In one of our many consultations with Albertans, a surgeon told me about a revolutionary technique for hip surgery that's actually being used in hospitals around the world. Instead of making large invasive incisions to complete a hip replacement, this new technique only requires one small cut. And that reduces the risk of complications during and after the surgery. It's less painful for patients, and it can result, and does result, in significantly shorter hospital stays. In short, this technique could significantly reduce wait times for hip replacement or hip surgery. The only thing standing in the way? We don't have access to the specialized operating equipment and table that would allow this technology to be deployed in Alberta. If there are proven benefits to patient outcomes, there's just no reason why we shouldn't have this equipment available to us. Really, it's kind of a no-brainer. And while new technologies can do incredible things to improve our patients' health outcomes, simple solutions can also offer us huge benefits. Ask any nurse working on an inpatient unit about those purple blood glucose machines. Regularly checking blood sugars is an essential part of any diabetic patient's care. But having to spend a significant amount of time calibrating a machine and pricking a finger, sometimes up to 10 times a day, well, especially when sensors with technology that can monitor and report those blood sugars in real time actually exist, well, that's just not a good use of time, given all the other things that our overworked nurses need to do to stay on top of patient care in our hospital settings these days. So I'm sure they'd appreciate not having to wait in line to use a bulky machine when other, more reliable products can save them time and help patients. So we can deploy retrofit products like TapMasters to improve outcomes for thousands of surgical patients. And we can leverage the benefit of lowered costs by working with local entrepreneurs like Tyler and Kelly. These are just a few examples of how we could utilize our Healthcare Innovation Challenge Fund to improve patients' lives all across Alberta while supporting innovation and economic development right here in this province. Fact is, Albertans' priorities are our priorities, and we remain focused on what matters to them. They want better health care, and with the Alberta NDP, they will get better health care and a better future overall. Thank you, and any of us here are happy to take any questions you might have.
Okay, open up questions in person, then go to questions on the line.
Because mine's off topic, I'll let somebody on.
Okay, thanks, Rick. No other, okay.
I'll be a gentleman.
Okay, we'll go with questions on the line, then come back to in person. We'll go to our first caller. Please state your name and outlet off the top. Sorry, go ahead, caller. Your line is open.
Hi, Ms. Notley. I was hoping I could ask you a question. I want to switch gears for a minute if I could. I host the Daily Agriculture Show, and I wanted to ask you a question about Bill 6. As you know, it led to a number of protests throughout the province when we were putting your Several committees were formed to study the bill more closely. If the NDP forms government again late next month, would you be reintroducing a bill similar to Bill 6?
Well, there's no question that we remain concerned about safety for farm workers all across the province. That's a really important issue. I think that became super clear during COVID. No question about that. And as you know, when the UCP undid Bill 6, they also undid a whole bunch of other things, like, for instance, a minimum wage. A lot of people don't know that farm workers in Alberta actually aren't necessarily entitled to be paid the minimum wage under the UCP regime, and that seems a bit inappropriate. So we would be looking at it, but you know, we learned from last time, and we know that that we need to consult with farmers and employers in that sector. We know that we had made good progress after the fact last time in terms of having a whole bunch of reaching a lot of agreement with key leaders within the sector, and so we would go back to where that work had left off, and then we would hope to be able to move forward on some elements of it after we've had a chance to really talk with folks in the sector.
Was there a follow-up?
Oh, thanks.
Okay, we'll go to our next caller. Go ahead, Catherine Gurkowski.
This is Catherine Gurkowski, Alberta Today. So we already have a health stream for Alberta Innovates, and we already have some nonprofit initiatives like Health Cities here in Edmonton. And I'm wondering, how is this different, and how would it work with the existing health innovation ecosystem?
Well, thanks very much for the question, and allow me to start, and then if you have anything you want to add, Luanne, by all means, feel free. But bottom line is this. So this would be a fund, a capital fund that lived in AHS that gave them more flexibility for what are often smaller projects, but they bring a high level of innovation to what they're doing, and they can have the kind of game-changing impact that I've described. What we are hearing from innovators in this area is that because AHS does sort of large scale across the board centralized procurement, and to be clear, there's nothing wrong with that. They're doing that to save money. It's good practice in many ways. What unfortunately happens is those smaller pilot projects, those smaller pilot opportunities to test new technology are missed because of the system that we have and the way in which capital dollars are expended through AHS and through Alberta Health. And it's different than the stream that we've got at Alberta Innovates. So this is a capital fund that would allow AHS to operate with a little bit more nimbleness, a little bit more flexibility, to reach out to some of these effective and entrepreneurs and to deploy some of these technologies into our healthcare system to ensure that we get the benefit of the most efficient and most effective and best care that we can offer to Albertans.
Was there a follow-up, Catherine?
So in response to the news conference held yesterday, the UCP put out a counter news release with an attachment to a planning and development services report. And I know you had said yesterday that your team was told there's details that can't be revealed for another 6 to 8 weeks. And I was hoping to get some clarification. Had you seen that city planning document before? And are there still details that you're looking for that aren't in that document?
Absolutely. So what we were advised by city officials is that there is an agreement that outlines in much more detail the level of exposure by the taxpayer to a number of different fiscal pressures that may or may not arise with respect to the project. And to be clear, that's to be expected. Honestly, when we were being briefed, we asked the questions about, where's the number for this or where's the number for that, because we understood that that's part of the process. And in that conversation, we were told, yes, there is a detailed document that outlines the exposure for the public contributor, but there is an agreement amongst the parties to keep that document confidential for 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks. So that's what we're talking about, because that's where you get a better line of sight into the actual financial cost that may be presented to taxpayers across the province at some point. And so let me be clear as well. I think the possibility of a new arena, it's very exciting. It's an exciting project, and we're not saying it's not by any means. But we're in a situation where the cost has doubled over 18 months, and the public contribution to that cost has tripled. And so to try and turn it into an election issue and say you're either with us or against us, while not really being transparent with the details, I mean, it's kind of game playing. And as I said before, I think it's really not fair to voters. So, yeah, sure, exciting project, but I think most people, even the biggest fans of the Flames, and the biggest fans of hockey, I happen to be one of them, would agree that they expect their political leaders to know what they're signing on for, and they expect us to avoid signing blank checks.
Okay, we'll go back to questions in person.
Good morning. Rick Bell, Calgary Sun. Just following on that, I know you have very great concerns about the detail, and it's the details that you don't have yet. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the details we do have today, which is as you've pointed out, the $537 million for City of Calgary taxpayers, and $330 million for provincial, et cetera, and maybe more. But even when you look at the deal as it, to the degree that the public knows, many people. It's been wild on social media. Many people have been weighing in on their at least preliminary opinion about this deal, including some very strange political alliances between former councillors who are very conservative and perhaps other people who are not so conservative. So you've got an odd group of people, a wide range of people who are commenting about it and are critical of it. What do you feel? You've negotiated all kinds of deals. When you see them with the numbers that we do have, what do you feel about that?
What I feel about the numbers that we do have is that they outline the potential for a very exciting project for Calgary.
Right.
But they also highlight the need for us to have all the information. And I think that all Albertans, and certainly all Calgarians, expect their leaders to operate with a certain amount of fiscal prudence and responsibility, and part of that involves knowing the details of what it is you're being asked to sign on to. And because we know that we don't know all the elements to the deal and where the costs might fall, I'm not in a position to say yay or nay, and I don't even want to say that with respect to what we do see, because I honestly think that we need more information. And I, unlike the Premier, I really do think that this is an issue that deserves calm debate and conversation. It shouldn't be ramped up the way it is right now. And we do need more information, because taxpayers are being asked to step up quite a bit, and I think they deserve the benefit of being able to ask questions and get answers.
And the supplementary is, not so long ago, several people, including myself, applauded you for offering Calgarians the opportunity to vote in a plebiscite, and made the granting of the provincial money contingent upon a yes vote at the plebiscite. And this was at a time when it was going to go through. And when Calgarians had the opportunity to vote, they voted no. Mm-hmm. And that would not have happened without that plebiscite. So are you at least open to the idea that if you become premier, you would at least perhaps look at that opportunity as an option, or where are you at with that? Since you've had experience with it before with provincial money.
I certainly have had experience before, but what I will say is all of that is premature, Rick. I think really at this point, we just need to see all the information. Calgarians need to see all the information. We need to have a strong conversation about that and with all the information. A strong one, but not a rhetorical one, if at all possible, which may or may not happen. But nonetheless, I really think we need to turn down the heat, and we need to make sure the information is there. And I think all taxpayers who are being asked to contribute to it need to know more about it. And of course, Calgarians who are being asked to contribute 70% of it need to know more about it.
Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Notley. Simon Jones, CTV. Just along those lines, what is it you need to see from the province or the city to make a decision as to whether the arena deal is good or bad?
Well, again, I have been involved, as Rick said, in these kinds of conversations in the past. So I've certainly typically seen about 75 to 200 more pages of details on these kinds of events when we are being asked to make those kinds of decisions. And so we haven't seen that. But honestly, listen, we were asking basic questions of officials yesterday, and what's clear to us is that potential financial exposure for the province as well as the city is not fully outlined in the information that we have right now. That there is a document that does outline that, and that we've been told that it has to stay confidential for 6 weeks. And so we need to know. We need to know who's financing the Calgary Entertainment Centre's part of the deal, because of course their upfront cash or their contribution spreads out over 35 years. We need to know what the implications are for property taxes. We need to know who's responsible for which cost overruns. All those kinds of things are completely reasonable questions that I think folks would expect us to have the answer to. So, and I look forward to getting that information, and for all Calgarians and all Albertans to be able to take a good, thoughtful look at this.
And just secondly, folks in Calgary may not like it so much, but would you use the Rogers Centre in Edmonton as a template for a new project here?
Well, I think, listen, there's a lot of things about the Rogers Centre that we're still working out and stuff, and the reality is that deal was cut over 10 years ago, and so I think there are probably improvements that can be made on that deal, quite frankly, when it comes to taxpayers. And there are also, on the flip side, different circumstances in play in relation to where Edmonton was at and the city was at in terms of that deal and where Calgary's at now. So I don't think that we should start from the position, as I said yesterday, that it must look exactly like Edmonton's looked like 10 years ago, because circumstances change, and I think we have to be alive to that. But at the same time, what I know is that when we engage in these conversations, regardless of what kind of investment we're looking at, is that we have to have all the information. Taxpayers, citizens deserve prudent leadership and decision making, responsible leadership and decision making. Leadership and decision making that understands it is the dollars of taxpayers and citizens that we are working with. And as a result, we need to know all the information around those decisions, because it's not my money, it's theirs.
Maybe like one more question, right?
No, I just wanted a clarification. When you said turn down the heat, you were saying you were hoping that this turned down the heat. Maybe you can explain what you mean by that particular wish of yours for that to happen.
Well, I mean, we've got the Premier's now claiming that because we didn't sign a blank check, we're against the arena. And of course, that kind of rhetorical exercise is not helpful. That's not what we've said. I think that Calgarians and Albertans want their elected representatives to stand up and say, hey, taxpayers and citizens have a right to know the details. And they should not be demonized for asking reasonable questions. And that is what we are doing. We have a project, the cost of which has doubled in 18 months. And the ask of taxpayers has tripled. And so it's totally reasonable that people ask for more information. And what should happen is that there is a reasonable provision of that information. Or there is an acknowledgement that the real conversation about it will start after that information has been disclosed. But then it's not something to be trying to be that should be leveraged during the election.
Okay, that's all for today.
Thank you.